Alright, well, I kicked on the stream again. I have to see if the restream actually connects. Why is restream not doing anything now? Oh, there we go. Okay. Just the page didn't reload here, refresh. Well, once again, sorry for people that are on Rumble and YouTube. I'm having some connectivity issues, it seems. So, I don't know where it got disconnected from, but essentially I was just saying about this whole AI avatar of a dead person is incredibly disturbing. Insanely disturbing, actually, if we want to really be accurate. I'm flabbergasted. Quite flabbergasted about how we've reached this point in society. And I think this also speaks to a larger issue with AI. I think people don't realize the dangers of what people can do with AI, what kind of shit can be done with it. I think it really speaks volumes about those kind of issues, and I think people really need to pay more attention to this, like the developers. I think, and the companies that provide these tools, because that's what AI chatbots are. They're essentially tools. So these companies that are providing this, and I think there should be a bit more care put into this sort of thing, not allow these sort of disgusting abuses. This is the equivalent of that, I don't know if people remember this, or if anybody knows even about this, I think his name was Pope Stephen, that dug up his predecessor to put him on trial and convicted a corpse of heresy, essentially, of committing heresy. So yeah, it's those things that, good Lord, to me it mirrors that, and that's crazy. That's just nuts, So yeah, that's where we're at right now with AI and society in general. It is nuts, people. It is just nuts. So, speaking of other things that are crazy, again, if you've been living under a rock, you probably don't know what's going on regarding the whole Russia collusion. Since we spoke about collusions, let's talk about one of the most famous collusions, the Russia collusion, the whole Russia collusion hoax. And yes, it's a hoax. It's obviously a hoax. Nobody was ever able to show any evidence of any sort of manipulation from the side of the Russians. There was nothing. It was all fiction. It was all based off of fake intelligence, cooked intelligence. And you have Tulsi Gabbard essentially putting out information and more information out there showing that Hillary Clinton was in on it. Comey was in on it. Brennan was in on it. Obama was in on it. And she's releasing more and more information, like the Durham report. There are parts of the Durham report that actually show that there was a lot more going on, that everything was fake. The indexes, I believe they're called, the people are, that's what they are. So, yeah, there is a lot going on with this, and I'm not gonna be able to do a deep dive into all this because I'll briefly say this though. If you think back to all the stuff that was said about Russian collusion, all the stuff that was alleged, all the people like Adam Schiff, claiming they saw evidence, overwhelming evidence, mind you. This wasn't even just, I saw a couple things that, may be questionable and might be worth looking into. No. Adam Schiff emphatically, on multiple occasions, went on CNN, went on MSNBC, and he would say, I have seen overwhelming evidence of Russia collusion, of Trump colluding with Russia to commit fraud in the election, to cheat in the election, and to win the election. But whenever he was pressed to actually fucking show any evidence, never did. Never showed a stitch, a hair, a whiff, nothing. Not a scratch of evidence. And he was just one of many that were pushing this Russia hoax. And it's all paid for by Hillary Clinton. It was approved by Obama. He was in on the whole thing. So now the question is this. What's going to happen? Subpoenas have gone out to bring these people in. Several people. I think Hillary Clinton is one of them. I think Comey is another one, and Brennan. And I think there's a couple other people that are being hauled in. Eric Holder, I think, might be one of them too. Actually, I didn't see the whole list. I don't remember. But there have been subpoenas issued to bring these people in for a hearing, and I think they're scheduled in September. So now we gotta wait over a month, essentially, or approximately a month or so, to bring people in to even have a conversation about this. And most likely, people are just gonna plead the fifth. They're just gonna plead the fifth. I don't think they're gonna actually say anything. And I don't think there's really going to be any consequences. Just look what happened with Lois Lerner with the IRS scandal, that they were targeting conservatives. She pled the fifth. First, she did this whole speech about how innocent she was, and then she pled the fifth, which is contradictory. You can't do both. You can't you can't argue your case and then, oh no, I'm not going to answer any questions. That's not how it works, But anyways, nothing ever happens. And I think that's the biggest issue that I have. There's so much out there. The auto pen scandal with Biden. This scandal with Obama, Clinton's, the whole weaponization of the FBI, CIA with Comey and Brennan and everybody. Eric Holder being involved in this for sure. What's her name? The other AG that came after Holder, that they met on the she met on the tarmac with freaking Clinton. I can't remember her fucking name right now. But essentially, Lynch. Yes, Loretta Lynch. Thank you, DoomTube. So, yeah, these people were all involved in this shit. They're all involved. They were all part of this. And the problem is, I don't think there's going to be accountability. I don't think they're really going to face consequences, and that's just the sad reality of our political infrastructure. Going back to what we were saying before at the beginning of the stream, that you have these politicians, and I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're saying the most egregious, stupid nonsense, okay, and you are committing these sort of acts and crimes. It was unthinkable what Nixon did with Watergate. People were like, oh my God, that was so bad. It was so bad. Watergate was one of the biggest scandals in American history. Now you have an entire presidency that was done by 3 autopens. You have spying that happened from Obama. He spied on Trump. There's this whole Russia collusion hoax. You have weaponization of all of 3-letter agencies in our government and of our judicial system. You have federal courts being activist judges and basically tearing apart the Constitution for the sake of Orange Man bad. It's a really bad situation we find ourselves in. I don't have much hope that there's going to be any sort of real accountability or consequences to their actions. You're going to have people like Fauci they're walking around getting a big fat pension off of taxpayer dimes because he got his little auto pen pardon, and nobody's going to do anything about that. I mean, I hope to be proven wrong on this. I really do. If the Supreme Court proves me wrong and they go, you know what, these auto pen pardons are bullshit, I will gladly post and stream and go, hey, I was wrong. I was wrong and I am happy to admit it. But so far, I'm not seeing any progress with that kind of stuff. I'm not seeing any progress with accountability. And it does piss me off. I am seething over this, Stan, because I would like to see a modicum of justice. I would like to see at least one person get perp walked and hauled away and face the consequences of their actions. But nobody faces consequences. What happens is they may not be able to get elected as whatever anymore, and then they just get book deals. They go on late night shows. They're like little celebrities. They live the posh life. They fucked everybody over, and they're living the high life. It's just disgusting to me. And it's on both sides. It's not even just a Democrat thing. It's on both sides. Both sides are guilty of doing this. They're protecting themselves. They're stealing taxpayer money from people. Yes, it's called taxation without representation. And if we were back in the 1700s, you know, with the founding fathers and such, the outcomes would have been far different. And I'm not saying we got to go and do another revolution. I'm not saying that. I'm not advocating for any violence or anything like that. But our judicial system and our courts and everything, they should do something to criminals, don't you think? Anybody that's listening now or, you know, in future re-listens to the stream, you tell me. Put a comment in the comment area. Am I wrong on this, that our Department of Justice and our justice system should actually go after these criminals and something should happen to them, independent of any sort of immunity that some people may be? Because I've heard some people argue that, oh, Obama has presidential immunity. Well, if you're committing treason, are you immune? Any attorneys out there, constitutional scholars out there? Because I think treason qualifies for bypassing that sort of immunity, I would think. Well, yes and no. If he has immunity, he can be forced to testify. Well, yes and no. I mean, He could be subpoenaed like anybody else. But I think the problem that we're going to run into, or that they're going to run into more than anything, when they subpoena someone like Obama, is he can hide behind that immunity period. And in order to not incriminate his whole cabal, he may just plead the fifth and go, or hide behind presidential immunity. And then what? And I think that's exactly what would happen. And I think a lot of people that are involved are going to say, well, this whole thing involves the president, and we're not free to disclose the conversations that we had with the president because of presidential immunity and national security. They're going to hide behind those. I just know it. They're going to hide behind national security. They're going to hide behind presidential immunity. They're going to do everything in their power to hide their crimes. Basically, that's what it boils down to. It's sad, it's infuriating, and it's just ongoing. It doesn't matter if it's an Obama, it doesn't matter if it's a Biden, it doesn't matter if it's a George W. Bush, and it doesn't matter if it's a Trump at this point. Yeah, but the CIA is in on it. You had Brennan, who led the CIA, who was in on this whole thing. He was spying on Trump. The three-letter agencies were all in cahoots with this thing. They were all part of it. They tried to burn evidence. They were all these documents that are being all these documents that are being released by Tulsi Gabbard. They found them. They found them in burn bags. They're trying to get rid of them. They're trying to destroy evidence. Let's think about this for a moment. They were trying to destroy evidence. So, I don't know. I think it's just an endless circle jerk of criminality. And it's like, where are you gonna get this? Like, where are you gonna get to with this? Is what I'm trying to say. Like, where's the end goal? Because these people will not go down. They will not admit to their wrongdoing. They're gonna lie through their teeth. And there is nothing we can do about it, because even if they perjure themselves in a hearing, I don't think anything's really going to happen. Well, that's their goal. They want to round up all conservatives and jettison us into the sky, basically into the sun. So, it's just frustrating to me overall. I really wish that there was a more, like, positive kind of outcome that can come from this. I don't see it. Then again, I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I'm not someone who is as savvy about the law and the Constitution as someone who that's their bread and butter. So who knows? Like, maybe the people involved in trying to bring these people to justice, they may come up with something. So I hope I'm proven wrong in what I'm saying. And if they do come up with something wonderful, that's great. I think again, going back to the beginning of the stream, this is kind of the theme of this stream. Anybody who commits a crime, you deserve to receive the punishment according to the crime. If you committed treason, you should be punished according to what the punishment is for committing treason. If you rob a store, you should be punished accordingly. Steal a car, punished accordingly. Rape and murder someone, punished accordingly. This isn't rocket science. This isn't anything like, whoa, what a novel idea. Oh, wow, No. But, let's end this more on a positive note. There was a report, there's been reports and videos of Donald Trump on the roof of the White House. If you rape someone, the punishment is rape, and if you steal a car, the punishment is rape. Well, I mean, if you end up in prison, yeah, essentially all punishment ends up being rape, doesn't it? Yep. Jaywalking. Well, I don't know. Is there any sort of prison time for jaywalking? I guess if you don't pay your fine, you eventually end up in prison. So, yeah, I guess jaywalking could end up as rape, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. But I just found the reports funny about people losing their minds. Like, why is Trump on the roof of the White House? I don't know why he was on the roof of the White House. He was saying that he was just looking around and going for a walk. I think it has to do with the fact that he wants to build a ballroom. So I think he was looking at stuff. He's a builder. He probably got it in his head. He's like, I wonder what the roof of the White House looks like. Probably decided to go up there and even just scope it out. I'd be curious. Why wouldn't you be curious? Well, the city of Baltimore and the state of Maryland should probably take care of that to rebuild the Baltimore Bridge. I don't think that's necessarily something that the federal government has to fund. So, insurance. Oh, jeez. Yeah, well, with insurance, insurance is such a scam. It's ridiculous. But I just thought it was funny. I just thought the whole thing was funny. There was video, and you had reporters screaming questions at him, and he's answering. He's screaming from the roof of the White House. I mean, it's so Trump. That's the thing. It's so Trump, and it's so like America in a way. Like just not giving two craps, going up there, checking out the roof of the White House, answering questions from the roof to the reporters. I know some people are going to criticize Trump about that, and they're like, what the hell is the matter with him? Even on the conservative side, some people are going to be like, why is he doing that? And, if Biden would have done something like that, I would have attributed that to, like, his dementia. It's like, why the hell is he going to the roof of the White House? But in Trump's case, I will admit one thing, that my first thought is because he is a builder and he is Trump, my first thought does not go to, it's dementia. He hasn't demonstrated anything like that. Biden instead demonstrated an enormously clear decline. So that's why I'm saying, like, some people are going to be like, if Biden would have done this, people would have criticized it differently. Trump is too high on diet pills to experience cognitive. I think the only pills he takes are for cholesterol, from what I understand. I don't know if he takes too many different drugs. Well, I know he takes cholesterol drugs, and I know that he takes I think he takes Propecia, so he doesn't lose too much of his hair. So there's that. He has the upper jaw clenched sometime. I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea what other medications he's on. I have not. I think the last medical release, they may have listed any medications that he's on. I'm not entirely sure if they did. But that might be something to look into if you're curious about what kind of medications the president's on. I don't know. It does matter. There are some medications that can really fuck with you. So it would kind of matter what he's taking, obviously. But it's like I said, his behaviors, they're very consistent with Trump being Trump. And to me, it is funny. Would I want my president to go onto the roof of the White House for no good reason? Probably not. I don't even see the reason for it. But, it's no harm, no foul, really, at the end of the day. He's not putting anybody in danger. He's not putting himself in danger. So I don't know. Yeah, that's all hearsay. So to me, it's meaningless. It really is. It really is meaningless to me. I don't really care about entertaining hearsay too much, in all honesty. Oh, sorry, I had to stretch for a second there. But yeah, hey, no harm, no foul. There's so much more I could even talk about. There's so much stuff going on right now, and it's crazy. It's just crazy, with Grok being absolutely broken because Elon Musk fucked it all up. Like if you ask it political questions, it's a mess. It's a mess, and that goes into what I said before about garbage in, garbage out. It's one of the principles of computer science. And that's clearly what's happening here with Grok. There's this whole drama. There's this whole drama with Candace Owens, Brigitte Macron, lawsuits. Maybe we'll save that for another stream because that's a little bit more involved as well. So I may want to dedicate a little bit more time to that. So I think we reached a good point here with the stream. We've had some networking issues. But, this whole thing with... Actually, I will briefly just mention one thing about the whole Candace Owens kind of weirdness. It's kind of crazy what's happening there with Candace Owens because a lot of people... And this is... Let me preface this by saying I was never a Candace Owens supporter. Like, I was never one to go, oh man, she's so awesome, following her, liking all her tweets, and no, I never did that. I had a lot of issues with her before she turned conservative because some people forgot about this or they're just ignoring it. But Candace Owens, when she was doing the circuits, the rounds on social media and doing speeches and stuff, she was not a conservative. She was not a libertarian. She was quite liberal, actually. She was advocating for a lot of different things that were quite liberal. And on top of that, the one thing that she really got a lot of flack for was the fact that she wanted to develop this platform, which was essentially a doxing platform. So if anybody criticized her, she would be able to use the platform to dox anybody, because it would just go scour the internet for all sorts of information and data and find out who this person was. Now, she publicly shut that down. I don't know what they did because they were developing it, so at a certain point some development code must have been put down, but I don't know how far it went. I don't know if there was any testing. I don't know if this stuff is still going on in the background. There's no way of knowing. So I'm not going to speculate on that because I don't have any evidence to say things continued on beyond the website getting shut down. Now, said that, I will say that she did this whole conversion over to conservatism. Okay. She had some interesting moments, especially when she was pregnant. She was actually kind of funny because she had no tolerance for anything when she was pregnant. I think that was her best time when she was doing speeches while pregnant because it was pretty fucking hilarious. Doesn't necessarily mean I agree with everything she was saying. It was just hilarious how she would just like shut down people that would say stupid nonsense. That was the funniest thing to me. I found that incredibly entertaining. But she's done some really weird. She's like one of the queen panicans out there. Like everything that Trump is doing, she's saying, "Oh, this is gonna happen. This other thing. We're gonna have troops on the ground in Israel. We're gonna have this. We're gonna have that. We're gonna have this other thing." Nothing she's ever predicted comes true. Nothing she's ever predicted comes true. She has just, and she, instead of having a modicum of humility and going, maybe I jumped the gun on that. I admit I was wrong. I didn't look at all the factors. I panicked. I got upset, etc., etc. No, she didn't put into practice any of those sort of things. Instead, she just doubles, triples, quadruples down. Now she had this weird interview with Tucker Carlson, which also Tucker Carlson has been really kind of off the rocker lately. I don't know. Whenever he was actually doing some very interesting things for a while, and now he's kind of fallen off the deep end as well. I don't know what's going on there. And you see a lot of this going on X, where you have a group of these so-called conservatives which are doing nothing but bash Trump. Every single thing he does, they're like, oh my God, they're losing their minds. They're spouting very kind of like stupid rhetoric. They're spouting stupid rhetoric because they think it's edgy, and they think that, saying things that verge on anti-Semitism gives them clicks and likes and attention, and it does, and that's the problem, so they keep doing it. So that's the problem, is like these social media platforms are really the biggest issue because they're really encouraging bad behavior. They're rewarding people for doing stupid shit instead of rewarding people that are trying to provide something substantive. And that's the biggest issue that I have with all this. So I don't know. I just find it very bad in general. So I think we're going to leave it at that for now. We're going to talk about it a little bit later. Maybe do a deeper dive into this, like I said, on another stream whenever I manage to make that happen, which I know I've said this many times before. I would like to try and have more regularity in my streams. Please call Stan a pakike before. And what's a pakike? Pakike? What? Packy? Oh. I don't know. I've never heard of it before. I don't know. It's the first time I'm seeing that word. I didn't even know that a packy kike could even existed. There is such a combo. I have no idea. It does exist. Oh, it's Stan. Okay. I guess that's what you are, Stan. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just going with what people are telling me. So let's go with that. I have no clue. Well, I haven't been reading the dialogue, so I cast no judgments on anybody at all. I'm not going to take sides. I don't know who's right, who's wrong, who's up or down, left or right. I have no idea. I haven't really been looking closely at chat, so I will not cast judgment on that. But I will say this, it is getting a little late for me here. I probably should get some food for dinner. So I'm going to end the stream here. And I want to thank everybody for watching on the different platforms here, and dealing with the little issues that I was having with the connectivity. I'm going to try and work out those kinks. And for those on Rumble and YouTube, liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, all that stuff helps with the algorithm. I appreciate shares and views, all that kind of stuff. So anybody that's willing to help me out here and support a small fry, small potato like me, I really do appreciate it. And of course, I got to sign off as I usually do. Remember, kids, don't be complacent. Have a wonderful night, everybody.